Okay, so this is my friend Olivia, and she recently had an experience with a LCSW at a counseling center with her son. So, would you like to tell us about your experience?
Sure. So my son, he had been seeing a therapist at this office, and that therapist was switching offices and wouldn't be within our insurance. And so we decided to, instead of finding a whole other therapist, to just see if we could keep him at the same office and just try one of the other people there that might be able to like help him.
Right.
So, yeah. So we switched to him and we went to, I think, like maybe 3 sessions. That was maybe 3 too many.
Okay.
Yeah. And it just was like not a great experience, which was too bad because the first counselor was so amazing. And
Right.
then this one was like,
No.
there are maybe not some great ones out there. So.
Okay, so tell me what happened.
So there were a couple things that made me feel really uncomfortable about him. The first one is that he asked about our religious affiliation and then started everything that he said from there on out had some sort of like religious undertone or strong overtone.
Right.
But one of the things that I found really odd was when he started to ask Rob about his dreams and trying to like tell him what they meant.
Ooh, okay, so tell me more about that part.
Okay.
How did he do that?
So he was like, Rob was talking about, I can't even remember what it was now, but he was like, so, do you ever have dreams? And Rob was like, yeah, sometimes.
Wait, how old is Rob?
So Rob is 11.
Okay.
And it was during play therapy. So he was in like a room where they have a bunch of toys and like a sandbox that he kind of will like set things up in and talk about.
Right.
And so he was like not fully engaged in what was happening with the therapist. He was kind of setting his thing up and he was like, yeah, sure. And I was just sitting there observing.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, okay, do you ever dream like that you're flying sometimes? And Rob was like, I guess so, sure. Again, not really engaged, not really paying attention. And then the therapist looked at me, over the sandbox and was like, that's good. That means that he's pure. He's pure. And I was like, what?
So not only was he leading him on what kind of dreams he was having,
yes,
but then interpreting them.
Yes. And then he was like, well, what other sorts of dreams do you have, Rob? And he was like, I don't know. I don't know. I have bad dreams sometimes, and I don't know. And he was like, okay, well, maybe if you start writing those down, then you can bring them in, and I can talk to you about what they mean. And I was like, wait, what's happening?
So tell me what that felt like for you.
It just felt like sometimes I feel like I'm in the camp where I'm like, sometimes your brain just produces weird things in your dreams and that's all that it is something weird. And I would rather not focus when we're specifically going to him for issues with anxiety and social, relationships and family issues and anger, to focus on dreams and whether or not he's pure based on his dreams.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us so that we can learn. Okay, thanks.